Donald Trump has done more lying about the election than talking about any other fucking subject that can be talked about right now. Since his squadancy ended, Donald Trump has issued more statements lying about the 2020 election than statements talking about any other subject this year. He was banned from Twitter. Banned from Twitter since early January. Trump has communicated his post-squadancy musings in written statements that are emailed to journalists and posted on his website. The one that basically failed after a month. That was basically taken down. These missives, many of which were initially featured on his now shuttered blog, have replaced his tweets as the most comprehensive public record of his day-to-day thinking. After crunching the numbers, what's clear is that Trump's primary focus is on the election that he lost. 43, 43 of the 132 post-squadancy statements Trump has issued through June 9th included a lie about the election. That's about 33%. And these lies range from vague claims that the election was stolen and rigged to specific false assertions about what happened in various states that he lost. The election wasn't stolen and it wasn't rigged. Trump's second favorite post-squadancy topic has been bashing the fellow Republicans. About 24% of Trump's post-squadancy statements have castigated other members of his party, sometimes for failing to support his dishonest attempt to get the election overturned, and other times for generally failing to be sufficiently loyal to him. I said, yeah, how funny is it that he demands loyalty, but the fucking fat ass doesn't show any loyalty at all to anybody. Another 23% of Trump's post-squadancy statements have been endorsements of the fellow Republican candidates, and these endorsements tend to be more formulaic and less personal than his other commentary. About 15% of the statements have featured criticism of media outlets or social media companies. About 10% have involved criticism of the current President Joe Biden or his administration. About 10% have discussed economic subjects, but we didn't include endorsement statements in which Trump passingly said that the candidate was good on the economy. About 9% have involved Trump touting his own popularity or influence. About 8% have involved criticism of specific Democrats other than Biden or of Democrats in general, and about 7% have involved praise of Trump's political sycophants. But here's what the numbers do show. The numbers show just how frequently the former squatter is still, a full 7 months after his fair and square defeat, promoting baseless nonsense that is destructive to American democracy. And the numbers help explain why so many Republican politicians continue to utter and defend these lies themselves. If the de facto leader of the party is making them an ongoing priority, elected officials who feel the need to stay in his good graces are not abandoning them too fast either. But the numbers also corroborate what CNN reported last week. People close to Trump say that he is fixated on the election and less interested in the policy issues his advisors prefer him to discuss. Only a small percentage of the 132 statements addressed the COVID-19 pandemic, which is about 5% overall, or the foreign policy or national security, which is about 2% overall, and meager 2% of the statements discussed immigration in detail, and some of the references to the economy were delivered in the course of criticizing someone other than as their standalone points of emphasis. A note about the data: the percentages in the story do not add to 100% because we assigned each statement to multiple categories as appropriate, and for example, the statement included an election lie, criticism of the media, and criticism of a Republican foe.